Welcome to today's collective reading. What is currently weighing on the collective at this time? There's been quite a lot of energy fluctuations over the last few days. A lot of ups and downs, and the challenge of fully feeling what comes up so you can fully release it. See through it. Understand that you are not the emotion. You are not the experience, you are the observer. Depending on the intensity of the experience and the emotion, this can be quite challenging at times. It can be very challenging at times, but it is definitely within your skills, your possibilities, especially with your guides, your connection to the divine and Gaia, 5D, 3D, to be able to become aware of this observer state versus kind of being at the whim of the emotion of the experience. To observe. To become the navigator instead of being tossed around by the waves. Right, so for the first placement, like a card for Earth, please. To be silent and observe what is stable, what is consistent, what is immovable. To observe. Okay. And it's interesting because in this position, we actually have a card that invites you to keep your silence of what you have observed. It's between you and the energies that are meant to know. It's between you and divine, 5D, 3D. Each of you has your own unique situations, and you know the specifics to what this could be implying. For the assertive energy present within this, which I do use assertive as the label that a lot of readers will use masculine as a label for. I do this because I find that it takes the gender, the gender role out of it, which can be very confusing sometimes for the message that's coming through, because then you get lost in, oh, it's a man or it's a woman. With assertive and receptive, which is the word I use for more the feminine, these aspects are present within each individual. So it takes that possible confusing, oh, it must be a man in my life that they're talking about, or a woman in my life. It could be an energy within you that is being reflected outside of you within a man or a woman. But to begin within, you are that pebble that created that first ripple effect in the water. So start within to understand without. Is what I really encourage with these labels. It helps to have a very clear message come through that isn't clouded by gender. All right, so for the assertive energy for the Earth placement, it's an invitation to be silent about any kind of romantic dynamics, possible romantic dynamics, beginnings, changes, anything like that. You and this energy within you, or the energy outside of you that is mirroring this, you'll know what's going on. You'll both be aware of it on an intuitive level, instinctive, and maybe even a conscious level, depending upon how aware, how sensitive you both are. But you as an intuitive have been drawn to this channel for a reason. It's because you have questions. You're seeking outside of yourself for guidance, because when you're in the middle of something, it's much harder to see things from an unbiased perspective. So that's the role of an intuitive or a reading or someone who is a channeler, especially for others that are also very sensitive, very aware themselves. They typically are the one doing the reading. If this is something that like you find yourself doing, this is why you're here. It's you're a lot of times that people that are very sensitive, they can't read those that are the closest to them clearly because they're so invested themselves. That's why. It's also allows you to live your life a little bit with some space for the divine to surprise you. You need to be able to live it a little bit, right? Not necessarily have all the answers. Okay, for the receptive energies present within the earth position, really that invitation to be silent with your observations, to know that they're stable, that they're grounded, that they're supported. You're not misinterpreting. Okay. Right. Okay. There is an indication that there has been, is, or was currently somewhat of a struggle internally with feeling bound by manipulations coming in from outside of yourself, thoughts, ideas, seeds that were planted, emotions, memories. Also, because it's in the earth position, the invitation to be silent about where you are on this path, to be quiet with that, to keep that between you and your guides, the energies that you're working with in both 5D and 3D that are already a part of this dynamic. It's an invitation to really just know that they understand, that who knows is who's meant to know. To not openly share where you are in this process. The indication is to it's kind of a sense of gratitude for the sacredness of where you are on your journey, but it's also a protectiveness of this because there are energies that aren't in the know, that are very curious, whether it's for benevolent reasons or malevolent reasons. It's not their business. It's not their business. So to keep that only within those that are meant to know, divinely guided to know. You'll know when it's okay. You'll get the indication. There's a indication of manifestation present here, like an owning of power, a surprise at what you've created. It is something that you're receptive to receiving. If you have not already done so, you're currently in that space where you're receptive to it. So can I have a card for the element of air, please? To know, knowledge, inner wisdom, elevated. Speaks to, the degrees of knowledge present when you are rising from 3D to 5D, when you're ascending through the 4th into the 5th, and all of that. Different layers of information. Okay, so this speaks to kind of plays off a bit of the invitation to be silent with what you know. This is all part of your higher self's plan, your co-creation with your higher self, with divine, with the assertive and receptive energies present within yourself and the divine. There is a plan. And if you're not fully in the know, that's because you're meant to not necessarily know at this point. You're meant to be surprised. It's also a bit of things are not necessarily as they seem. You are grounded in the physical, but you are definitely observing, watching. A lot of trying to be as receptive as you can to receiving information and willing to cut off any information that is of malicious vibes intent. So you're protective of yourself in this position of what you know. Almost as though you're firming up what you actually do know from what was deceptive, what was part of those deceptive energies that were coming in that left you in a state of confusion in the earth position. You're deciding what is your truth, what is real, what is false, what is. You're choosing that. You're creating it. By your choice in it, you're creating it. Can I have? Oh, there we go. I had to say, what can I have? And this is definitely a reaffirmation of what was channeled there. Oh, we actually got an extra one there. All right. So yeah, this is definitely a co-creation. There's a balancing present within you, within your subconscious, your consciousness, and your higher self, deciding what is and what is not truth, and rapidly making these decisions, moving towards that, if nothing more, moving towards it with passion. Grounded in both 3D as well as your knowledge of yourself and your emotion through observation. Okay, and the receptive energies. This is something that is a co-creation that has been manifested. This situation right now, where it all sits right now, and where each and every one of you currently has it at, where you are invited to be private with what you know and trust that the divine has informed and is guiding all the pieces, all the different chess pieces on the board. So those that need to know, and you don't need to speak of it to know. Thus protecting where you are, because it's personal, it's private, and there are those that would just find it interesting to gossip about. They don't need to know. You can tell when someone genuinely cares and when they're just interested because it's juicy. It's not necessarily they themselves that are bad or mean to hurt or harm, but to speak it is to give it power, to give voice to it, creates it. And to give voice to it when it's not yet in divine plan to be given voice to. Why? Let it incubate until you know it's right, until divine gives you that signal. Let it grow. Hold this beautiful, new beginning, if you will. It's this shining light in your hands, and just know that's yours. That's your co-creation. And just smile inwardly about it. No one else needs to know. You know. You're stoked about it. They can all kind of wonder. Let them wonder. Let them wonder. Divine will fill in the blank when it's due time. All right. Can I have a card for the element of fire? Will, the place of will, passion, transformation, cleansing. Right. You have willed you through your co-creation with the divine and your inner assertive and receptive energies have begun this manifestation that has brought you to a timeline where you get to fully experience all that you're capable of in a way. There's many different ways that could be taken depending on the individual. So let's get some more specifics here. It's definitely like a speaking to a leadership. Through example, an offer, and the ability to make decisions swiftly and decisively, to be simultaneously receptive, yet ready to cut, things off, energies off from your energy swiftly. So you're open to being receptive, but you're not wanting to be receptive to just any energy. You're being discerning. In your assertive energy, you have developed or are developing, you have willed this receptive discernment, receptive to co-creating with those, in partnership with those around you. But you're discerning, so you're not just doing this with just any energy. You're able to know when energies are not necessarily meaning to co-create, but possibly subjugate, take, consume, even. And these are not necessarily like things that are attached to people. They're energies, dynamics, ways of communicating, traumas present in people's subconscious. It's very, very complicated if you were to really bring it down to specific situations and dynamics, which for each individual watching this at this moment, there's going to be so many other energies attached to you, interacting with you. You'll understand these dynamics. You'll understand the developing strength of your discernment. And this position is something that is willed, is in the process of becoming willed into being in your physical as well as your 5D, your 3D and your 5D. And it's a co-creation. You have others that are looking to work with you because you are unique. Each one of us is unique, and we each have something unique to contribute. And that unique ability to connect with the divine, that only you can. You're that specific, unique light, if you will. You have others that have been looking for that light to work with. And the receptive aspect to this energy, there is a balanced energy moving forward between both the receptive and the assertive, and it's movement. It's definite momentum movement, and it's being aided by the divine. Almost a sense of having to be somewhere by a certain time, and you're worried you're not going to be there in time. Kind of urgency, but it's balanced. It's just there's that sense of urgency, whether it's I'm terrified I'm going to be late, or I can't wait to get there, and I might be like right on time or a minute or two late, but it's not necessarily a bad feeling. It can be just sheer anticipation, excitement. I would lead more towards with that because this is some really good stuff. Very positive energy coming through. That discernment is very grounded and stable. Almost a blooming into this position, into this reality. It's like your discernment is your abundance, is your harvest. Okay. Okay. All right. And it's taking that leap into the unknown, that willing to cross it over the threshold from what you're comfortable with, what you're knowing, is that last piece to fully willing this, is to just put yourself out there, is to, like, you're ready. Maybe you feel you need to take a pause, a breath, before you cross that threshold into the unknown, and you challenge yourself to become more because you're sharing yourself more. Whether you feel you need that moment's breath, maybe you're at a stop sign and little old lady is crossing the street and you're just, okay, I can do this. It's just like a minute or two. It'll be fine. I would rather just be calm when I get there instead of sit here and get fuming mad because I'm in a hurry at this sweet little old lady and I want to get mad at her. If that's the pause that you have, that's the pause that you have. Take advantage of it. Direct it. Don't get lost in the frustration. Observe that really 2 minutes it'll be fine. And you could do maybe a couple of breathing exercises, a couple breaths. And then reaffirm that you are going in this direction and it's where you want to go. It's where you want to go. However this may look to those listening who feel they are going to need to take this pause. It's a moment that you're gifted with to gather yourself because you need it, even if it is only 2 minutes. A lot can change internally within 2 minutes, especially when you're choosing to be the observer and not be bounced around by the emotion of irritation that you're being delayed for 2 minutes. Oh, we've all been there. We've all been there. Okay. All right. So for the position of water, this whole reading has really been driving a lot of the concept that we choose what our story is. We decide by what we give our power to, by what we own. Whether it's to be silent with what we know, because it's for us to know, or it's to choose to be mindful and observant, or to allow our emotions to bounce us around and let some other energy write our story for us then. With, what was spoken about in the earth energy, those outside energies coming in, they only hold power as long as you're buying into the illusion. And once you realize it's an illusion, because it's not of love, it's not of light, it's not real, it's not true, because of that. Once you see through that illusion, you begin to write your story yourself. And the assertive energy is present within the water placement of feeling that you write this story by being able to see your story, by being able to see through the illusion. Almost like you're writing your own novel, be it a sci-fi, romance, paranormal, historical, whatever kind of novel you wish to write of your life. What consistently always keeps you interested, pulls you through everything. And I think we all have the same answer there, and that's love. Love is what we are all chasing, what we are all looking for, what we are all longing for. Be it love of connection to spirit, to divine, to Gaia, love of ourselves, and that both those energies present within us, or being able to look at another and see yourself reflected back. Learn more of yourself. Be that through the love of a child, a parent, a partner, a friend. And this is something that the different aspects of you have been manifesting in co-creation, this awareness, this ownership of this. Different aspects of us internally. We have our inner child. We have our conscious self. We have our higher self. We have our subconscious that holds all of the information of everything we've ever experienced. Then we have our ego. And our ego it's getting the direction from us when we write the story that it needs to know who they are, what their role is. And then our ego actually begins to work for us. Instead of trying to lead our life without being fully prepared. To consciously lead our life is to write our own story and to know that love is the only real thing. It's the only truth. It's the divine present in all situations, aspects, throughout all realities. In the receptive energies, this is all really coming to light. It's being realized more and more and more. Anything that you have not worked through yet is needing to be written in before this manifestation fully becomes brought to the attention openly, if you will, if it's to be announced. Because that's between the different aspects within yourself and divine, the co-creation, the energies present within the co-creation of this manifestation. Those that are meant to know will know, and they'll know what's coming up, what's being processed. And this is a single-minded focus. You know how you want your story to end. Some of us are suckers for happy endings. Some of us like to be surprised. Some of us want there to be a cliffhanger. We want to be waiting for the next book. You know how you want your story to end, what elements you want to be present within it. And there's been a lot of planning present in how all of this interrelates, and you don't know all the pieces. So it's almost as though you're living your own novel, but you're surprising yourself. So you literally become the character that you often read about in other books. You get to become that, but in your own life. Knowing that it's going to be the kind of ending you desire, you create with the other energies present. It's a lot of passion in this writing of your life story. It's taken a lot for you to get to a point where you could fully understand just how much power you have to influence this story. You're not at the whim of everyone else's energy around you and what they want, so you just go with the flow, with what everyone else wants from you. To take an active stance in owning what you want is a huge step in creating it. So wherever you guys are on this journey, this process, that you're here, that you're listening to this, affirms that you have at least acknowledged and owned within yourself how you want your story to go. And that takes courage. It takes courage. So if you needed affirmation, that you're not alone, that this is a step that has been acknowledged by the universe, divine, Gaia, your guides, here's your affirmation. Thank you very much for listening. I am very grateful to each and every one of you for co-creating this reading with me. Namaste.